and this is Pick Up the Remote, and today I'm going to be reviewing the 6th episode of the Watchmen series titled This Extraordinary Being. This will be a spoiler-filled review, so if you've not watched the episode yet, you watch the episode and come back and listen to this later. So up top, I have to say what an absolutely cinematic episode of television that was. It was up there for me with some of the best episodes in the past 2 decades, from The Sopranos or even Breaking Bad, Fargo, or The Leftovers. And one of the reasons for it is that it had a very cinematic vibe, as I mentioned up top, where it evoked some of the vibes from the film Birdman, especially because it was fully in black and white, and the fact that it had a very jazzy background music with its drums and the trumpets and pianos, and the cinematography itself evoked a lot of memories from that film. In fact, the short transition from one character to another, or from one scene to another, were all brilliant. And I have to give a big kudos to the director of this episode, Stephen Williams, who is a fellow Lost alum like Damon Lindelof, and he did a great job. It was not easy to speak about such a evocative topic in such a science fiction world, yet he did it with aplomb, and I have to give 2 thumbs up to him for that. Now, if you remember, as we left off episode 5, Angela swallows a bottle full of pills that belonged to her grandfather, and we find out later that it's nostalgia pills. Small nod to the nostalgia perfume from the comics. And because of her ingesting those pills, she is transported into the life of her grandfather, Will Reeves, and we see the episode play out in vignettes of certain important incidents in his life through her eyes. And this, it kind of retcon the origin of Hooded Justice. Some of the comic book purists might not like it, but if I remember correctly, Hooded Justice was never revealed. I mean, his real origin story was never revealed to the readers, and it was up to us to make up what we thought. And the fact that they used that particular character to tie into Will Reeves' story, I thought was a great stroke of genius from Damon Lindelof and his writing team, because the simple fact that the Hooded Justice costume is that of a hangman's hood, cut off noose, and binded arms, wrist. Nobody would have thought immediately what it kind of means. I don't think Alan Moore even thought of that. But Damon Lindelof and his writing team has done a great job to actually tie that into the injustices that Will Reeves suffers during what is a pre-civil rights United States. He is a black man on a new police officer in the New York Police Department, and there's a lot of racism that he experiences, and one of those incidents drives him to adopt this moniker of a costume hero. And it was not particularly expanded in the comic, and I think this one really works. The juxtaposition of the Tulsa massacre with scenes in this episode not only made it one of the most cerebrally thought-provoking, but also the most visually stunning episode of the series so far, and especially with its black and white, where the whole episode was taken in black and white, except for certain parts or certain characters that had a tinge of color to them, just to remind us, the viewers, to separate what was being experienced by Will and what is actually being seen by Angela. this particular episode, and I thought that was a brilliant stroke of genius from Damon Lindelof. And Lindelof and his team has, they have made it a point to show that the real life violence is not sometimes but always more brutal than the simulated violence that is shown within the show. In the show, American Hero Story, and the particular fight scene in the supermarket was, I think, one of the most realistic fight scenes we have seen so far in this series. And and I failed to mention actually in my previous review of the first 5 episodes of what a great background score it has been so far for this series. And the duo behind the score is none other than Atticus Ross and Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails fame, and they have done a fantastic job. I think they are absolutely killing it from episode 1 till now. The use of keyboards, synthesizers, and electronic music, I think, has been perfect for this show. It heightens the suspense when it's needed. It evokes a lot of emotion when it's needed, and I think they've done a fantastic job. And the final score changes very subtly from the jazzy drum and trumpet that we hear throughout this episode into the one that we are more accustomed to hearing from the last few episodes, the synth version, and I love that transition a lot. So 2 thumbs up for them as well. Let's move on to the performances now. Regina King is, as all of you know, a fantastic actress, and she is magnificent as always. The horror you see in her face in that lynching scene was great. She acted very well in it, and there's a lot of things that she does throughout this series that would definitely be a candidate for Emmy highlight reel. But I think her eyeballs, the way her eyeballs acted in this particular episode, could win an Emmy on its own. The sheer terror of it, that just by the movement of her eyes and her eyeballs, I think she is quite a shoo-in for nomination at least, and those eyeballs could actually win her the Emmy. Apart from her, the other standout of this episode is Joan Adepo, who some of you all might know from Leftovers, and most recently the Overlord film, or even the Netflix series When They See Us. And he had a very difficult task of portraying someone with a lot of vulnerability in the form of Will Reeves, and I think he did a great job. He's fantastic with showing his struggles with identity, not just as a black man in pre-civil rights America, but also as a bisexual costumed hero, and he does a great job. I'm looking forward to him in the Stand, Stephen King adaptation. Let's see what he can bring to that. But good job to Joan Adepo. I don't know if we might see the young Will Reeves again, but if we do, I'm looking forward to it. So I have to say that this particular episode, had a lot of parables as well. The fact that Hooded Justice had to paint the area around his eyes white parallels very nicely to his granddaughter's similar action of painting her eyes black. His granddaughter is Sister Night, and apart from that, there's a lot of parallels that seem to have affected. Kind of like, there's this saying, the sins of the father, but in this case, it's the grandfather, and there's a lot of theme of legacy as well. And maybe, I don't know, if Sister Night might take up the mantle of Hooded Justice in the future. There might be a plan. I have to say, putting the audience behind the eyes of a black man being lynched is It was genuinely genius, but absolutely unnerving, and all of this in the middle of a costumed hero origin story that encapsulates a nation's history of racism that was being experienced by another character, by the creative trope um, of a science fiction kind of trope. It has to be one of the most layered storytelling that I have seen, and this episode checks all the boxes. It's sophisticated, it has searing social commentary, it's creatively daring, and it was beautifully executed, and it had innovative use of genre tropes. What a spectacular hour and 5 minutes of television that was. I loved it. I can't wait to see more. There's 3 more episodes to go, so um, all I have to say is, quis custodiet ipsos custodes? Who watches the Watchmen? Are you watching the Watchmen? This has been a presentation of Badass Reviews. Pick up that remote, like, share, comment, subscribe, but most importantly, keep calm and rock on.